Hi again, Omid here, Phoenix English. I have another lesson for you today. This is actually a request by one of my students. So the request was the difference between all and whole. Now, the reason I also chose this lesson is because this is a very common mistake students make. They mix these two up all the time. They have very specific roles in situations. We are going to look at them today. The first and most important thing to remember about all versus whole is where to put the definite article, the. So it's always all the, whatever you're talking about. The, whole, whatever you're talking about. So always the, after, all. The, before, whole. Now, they sound a little bit similar. All, whole, but not, right? So be careful about pronunciation. Sometimes people might think you're mixing them up just because of pronunciation. All, whole. Make sure you get that H sound and that O sound together. Now, what's the difference between all and whole? All, you're talking about everything. Whatever it is you're talking about all of it. Basically, everything. One, etc. When you're talking about whole, you're talking about a complete something, a complete package, a complete group, a complete container of something, right? Whatever it is you're talking about, it has to be complete, right? It has pieces inside, and then the whole is the complete collection of whatever it is you're talking about. Whereas all is just everything that's involved with that noun, etc. So I'm going to give you a very quick example. You're sitting, your friend went on a trip out of town. He had to take the bus for 2 hours to his friend's house in Montreal, let's say. He comes back. You ask him, "How was the trip?" And he goes, "Oh my God, there was a baby on the bus and the baby cried all the time." But if he said, "The baby cried the whole time," do you think that it's a different meaning? Usually people will understand the same thing, but technically, all the time doesn't mean 2 hours crying. It means cried, stopped, cried, stopped, cried, stopped. It seemed like he was crying throughout the trip, okay? But if somebody said the baby cried the whole time, I understand 2 hours baby crying. 2 hours. It could drive a person crazy. All the time. He cried enough times that it seemed like a long time. The whole time means for 2 hours straight, non-stop. Okay, so that's a big difference between all and whole. Okay, the whole time, I'm talking about the specific duration, the complete journey, 2 hours. All the time, always, always crying, stopping, always crying, stopping. Not very much fun. But I studied all day. I have a test tomorrow. I studied all day. I studied the whole day. In this case, I would understand the exact same thing as well. You can switch these two. But all day means I studied, I took a break, I studied. I didn't do anything else, only studied today. But I studied the whole day means I sat at my desk and I studied. I didn't stop. So that's one of the big differences between all and whole. Whole, we're talking about time, non-stop, continuous. All means in that day, many times. And that's basically the one activity that you did. Okay? So this is one aspect of all and whole. The and duration, like always and the complete time of whatever it is you're talking about. We're going to look at a couple of other differences that are very important that you need to keep in mind. So let's look at the two examples here first. All my friends came. My whole group of friends came. What do you notice first about the differences between these two? 1. The possessive adjective. My, his, your, etc. With all comes after all. Comes before whole. My whole group of friends came. So I can say all my friends, all individual friends, right? But remember what I said about whole. Whole means something complete, a complete package of something. So I have group of friends came. The meaning is more or less the same, okay? But here I talk about the group, here I talk about the individuals. Very important to remember. But most important, possessive. After all, before whole. Okay? That's one. Let's look at another thing. Sometimes you can interchange the two words. The sentence looks exactly the same, but the meaning is very different. Okay? All cities were destroyed. So let's say, for example, there was an earthquake or a volcano eruption in Hawaii. Okay? In Hawaii, there are many cities. Volcano erupted, lava flowed, earth shook, etc. All cities were destroyed. But if I say whole cities were destroyed, the meaning is very different. Here, all cities were destroyed means no more cities. Every city destroyed. But if I say whole cities, it means some cities were completely destroyed. Okay? Whole cities destroyed means one city completely destroyed. But there are other cities that are okay. This one, no more cities. All flat. All covered in lava. Okay, so that's one other thing. With all, when you're talking about non-countable nouns, money, water, air, sugar, milk, non-countable nouns, you're usually going to use all. You're not going to say hold the money because it doesn't make any sense because it's not a complete thing. It's a singular, non-countable. All the money was stolen. All the water was drunk or spilled or whatever the thing is. And you're usually gonna use whole with a singular countable noun. You prefer to use whole than all, but it depends on the situation. Now, some people are gonna ask me in the comment section, but now they won't because I'll give you the answer right now. Why don't I say all of my friends? Why don't I say it? Because I don't need to. Okay, this is an extra word. You don't need to use it. The only time you need to use all of is with an object pronoun. All of them, all of it, all of us, all of whom, with a clause, etc. Otherwise, you just don't need of. It's a useless word. It doesn't help. It doesn't do anything. If I say the whole of, it's also the exact same. I don't need to use it. It means the complete package. So that's another difference. The last one, and this is very, very important, especially for those of you who are going to be taking tests and grammar is important. All the students need to come to class early tomorrow. The whole class needs to come early tomorrow. Can you see the difference? Main thing to remember, with all and plural, you have the matching verb. Students need. Remember, with whole, you have a complete package, one package. The whole class needs to. Singular with the S. Plural without the S. Okay? So now you see all the differences between all and whole. Now you will improve. Check out my other videos on YouTube. Subscribe to my channel. It would be very nice of you. And I will see you again very soon. Thanks.